All right, I'm getting my screen up here. Yeah, so as Jolie mentioned, you can very easily do it with latitude and longitude, but let's say you have students who want to use their home address or addresses of businesses, anything else. It's pretty easy to actually do it with just street address. And so basically, you still have to utilize the CSV method that Jolie showed you. I'm probably going to skip over a few of the things that she mentioned how to do. You know, basically what I have some of my students do, one of the projects we're doing is the ESSO green travel book that was used during the Jim Crow period of, you know, where black businesses that were basically black friendly, we're in the process of making a digital map of those. And instead of gathering the latitude and longitude coordinates, we're just getting addresses. Some of the addresses are kind of interesting, but most of them will actually be located on the map. So the easiest thing to do is to just create a spreadsheet, just as Julie did, except instead of having latitude and longitude, you have address. I think ArcGIS recognizes it as street, so if you want to use street as opposed to address, go ahead and do that. City, state, and country. You know, create a simple spreadsheet. Just as Julie mentioned, if you're working in Excel, save it as a CSV. I do all things through Google in my class, and so you just click on File, Download As, Common Separate Value. The good thing if you're operating in Google Chrome is it will appear at the bottom of your screen, and that way you don't have to save it anywhere. When it comes time to put it on ArcGIS, you can see it'll look as if it's right there. You can just drag that on to your map. And so when you drag that onto your map, you basically get, this will come up because it's not referencing it according to latitude and longitude, so it has to check and see that your field names are correct. And you can see I used an old one where I just used city and country, but it will also come up with address, street address, and town and state as well. And so here are the points I used, and this is just a screen capture of the map that I made. I'm going to talk about some additional aspects of this. Is if you wanted to add pictures to these points, there's a couple of different ways to do that. And so I just left it on the back of this PowerPoint how to do it. It's probably just going to be easier to show you guys and then let you come and reference this later. So I have a spreadsheet right here, and you can see it's the same spreadsheet that I used, but I have a fifth column that says image URL. You can see I have one section that's blank. I have one section that just has an internet address. Here's the fourth one. It has, I'm sorry, I guess it's the third one. It has an image source code, and then the fifth one has a reference code to a web page in addition to the image source code. And like I said, the directions are just basically the template for this is at the back of that PowerPoint or on the last slide. So I'm going to do just as I said. I'm going to download this as a CSV. And thanks to the beauty of Google Chrome, it drops it right down to there. I open up a map. And this is what I was mentioning is I drag it onto my map. I'm trying to slow down so it pixelates for you guys. You can see that where I typed in address, it's using street, and then it matches city, state, and country. That fifth column, it's not using it to locate anything because there's no location feature on that. All my items are in the United States, so to make it more accurate, I can click on the United States. If you're doing any other country, you can select that country or the world. And you can see there are my points, right? They all look exactly alike, except there's just a few differences, and those differences come back to the way I set up that last column of the spreadsheet. Here's a point here in Virginia. If you remember, there was nothing on that point. As I click on it, and it's not working. There it is. You can see that the image URL section was left blank, and that's because we didn't put anything in there, and so there's no picture. If I move up to this one right here, this is the point that we just put in the internet link, and you can see that it comes up as more info, and it's hyperlinked, so you can click on that. And the location is the Consol Energy Center, and this is the famous Mario Lemieux statue that's there. Now, wouldn't it be better, though, if that picture just popped up in our map? And that's exactly what we did when we put in the image code. And so you can actually see, this is the town I grew up in. There's the bridge, and you can kind of expand that, and you can get a picture for that. What I tell my students is, wouldn't it be even better if you could open up that picture and then have it linked to somewhere? And that was what the last bit, that was what the last point included. And so if we go over to Chicago, and I don't know why I chose Wrigley Field, but I just did. And now you can see that when you hover over the picture, that you get the cursor hand, and so you click on it, and it takes you out to the Cubs web page. And so that's, those are just some of the different ways to do it. Chris, anything to add on that one, or Julie?
One thing I'd like to add, Andy, is thanks for sharing the multiple ways to show images. I was only familiar with the image source code to get it to pop in there. I really like how you can put in the image and have a link to a website, all by just how you format those websites. So for me, that's all I got. I think you covered it quite nicely. Julie, any thoughts?
I had the exact same thought that Chris did. I'm really glad that you shared that, Andy.
Oh, great. Yeah, because, you did a pretty good job of showing how to, when you do map notes, and I think I have my students, like when we're doing the green travel book, it's just easier to upload a mass of points as opposed to putting a separate map note in for every single point. And this way you can still include pictures and link it to web pages as well.